Hello and thanks for watching my video. Today I wanted to do a video discussing rotations and what the whole concept about rotations actually is. You may hear a lot of people, particularly to do with raids and high-end fractals, will talk about your rotations and how much damage you can do. And I wanted to explain for players that aren't too familiar how this whole rotation works, what actually is involved. So, rotations are when you actually activate your skills. So for example, I've got a golem here and I'm just hitting it. You'll notice I've got a lot of buffs on, so you may be wondering why I'm doing so much damage. But then what the rotations is how you use your skills effectively. So I could put down, if I just did the auto attack, it's pretty dull. You know, it's not anything specific. It's not a great rotation because I've got all these other skills that I'm not using. So what I could then do is actually use Lava Font, then use my Meteor Shower, by which time my Lava Font's cooled down. I can use a few other skills that are available while my other skills are on cooldown. And this is where rotations come in. It's also, for example, for the Elementalist, we have different attunements. Now, for damage purposes, it's not very useful to go into water or earth. But it's actually not too bad to go in for air, because although air actually, as you can see, does less damage in terms of auto attacks, what you do get is this overload skill, which can do significant damage because it puts a lot of vulnerability on, and then you can switch back into fire. And this is all about the rotations, knowing when you actually do a certain amount of damage. So you can see here, my DPS was pretty, not great for all these boons on, only 23,000. So we're going to stop there and we're going to leave it there. So I've actually stopped doing that. It will actually need a little bit more to actually get down to 50%, but I'm actually just going to reset the golem. So you can do that over here at the arena console. We can summon we can adjust the enemy golem, we can kill it, and then we can summon an enemy golem. And sorry, I didn't mean to do that, just a health pool. We're going to go average enemy. So we've summoned it again, and now I want to demonstrate the difference between just auto-attacking and actually maximising your rotations. So we can summon Fire Elemental, we can go in here, we can actually use some skills while we're casting. You know, again, a lot of these aren't too realistic because we've got all these extra boons on us. So then we'll use our overload, we can use our Lava Font. The Lava Font's a very, very effective skill, and you want to try and use that to the maximum effect. Now what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to stay in fire. I'm not going to change too much, just to give you that whole idea of what the skills are. You can see what I'm doing on screen. I'm going into the fire overload. As soon as I come out to that, I'll put the Lava Font down, then I'll use skill 3 because it's off cooldown. I've got no skills available to me, so I'm actually just going to keep on doing it. I accidentally pressed that button there, but you can see my damage is 22,000 and it's a lot higher already, and this is just by me sticking in fire, you know, just rotating skills so that as soon as they're off cooldown, I'm using them for maximum effect and maximum damage in the allotted time. And again, we're doing it going into different fire, using different skills. I'm not going to use the skill 4 because it's not really too big a damage skill. The Lava Font and the Meteor Shower, that's the bread and butter, as well as your Fire Overload, which I try and do when the Lava Font's on cooldown. We'll use skill 3 when we can just use that because there's no other skills on cooldown. Again, you'll see we auto attack whilst we're waiting, and again my damage is around 22,000 in terms of DPS, so damage per second. And it's all about using these different skills to your maximum effect to create the most amount of damage per second. And this is where you'll get a lot of people will say, well, show me your DPS. They'll have DPS meters, and they'll be able to see how well your DPS is going. I mean, this is just, again, we will kill the golem, and using different skills can actually have a big impact. So what we'll do, again, we'll kill the golem, and we will summon another enemy golem, and this time what we're going to do, I've got to summon it first. Summon the enemy golem, we'll give a medium health an average enemy, and what I'll do, I'll actually put on Ice Bow, and this is a different skill, and we'll see the difference in DPS. So again, we'll summon the Fire Elemental, we'll go in, we'll launch our Meteor Shower, and you're wondering why I've summoned the Ice Bow. Well, it's to give you an example of how different skills can affect your DPS, and for certain particular bosses or raid bosses, world bosses, fractals, having different skills can really affect your DPS. So again, look at this. We'll pump the ice bow, use the meteor shower, and then that's it. We only use it briefly. We don't stick into the ice bow. We only use it for a couple of skills, and then using our rotations, because we only want to use 2 skills that are very effective and do a lot of damage, we don't want to stick around in ice bow. We don't want to keep using ice bow for a long time. Again, might pick it up, and we've got ice bow, the ice storms on cooldown, off cooldown, sorry, and we'll pop our lava font, and you'll notice our DPS is slightly higher. Because of using the ice bow, when it's on cooldown, the ice bow skills can give you a lot more damage, and so it's doing that extra 1,000 damage per second. Just by using a different skill, and just by rotating that skill, allows you to do more damage. Again, we'll pop our ice bow, we'll drop down the ice storm, and then we'll use skill 3, because again, skill 3 is actually a pretty decent damage skill. And then as soon as we've done that, we'll come out of the ice bow. We don't want to stick around too long. All right, I've dropped down a little bit because I wasn't really focusing on talking to you guys. So we're going to stop it right there. But the point is, the fire elemental was doing a fair bit of damage for me. But the point is to show you how different skills and using different skills can actually affect your DPS. So we'll kill the golem there. So let's actually try that again, and then let's start off by using air. Now, a lot of people will say start off in air when you play in a raid. You want to start off in air. Well, let's examine why. And so we'll wait just for our cooldown. We're actually not going to summon an air elemental because it doesn't do as much DPS. So here we go. We're going to go in, and boom, we've started. We're going in with our air overload. We'll pop a lightning storm, and then we'll swap over to fire, and we'll do a meteor shower. We'll summon a golem, sort of a elemental. We'll go into fire overload and use all our skills. Pop an ice bow, drop a ice storm, and then use that frost fan, and then go back into fire. Keep going, and with the DPS, we've got some auto attacks going on. We'll use the fire, the lava font, the elemental, then the fire overload with the meteor shower ready to come. So here we go, there's the meteor shower. Again, remember that the DPS for this class is 22,000, so it's not as good as how we had it previously, but it's still at 22,000, not bad. My rotations are a little bit slack. I'm not maximizing it to perfect effect, and it's your ability to play around with it and know when's best. I'm actually taking my hands off the keyboard here to talk to you a little bit, so I'm not actually going full hammer and tongs. The whole point of this video is to actually show you and practice what skills actually work best for you, and also to show you, well, let's see what rotation works the best for me. You know, for example, if I stick in ice bow, look, there we go. You know, again, I'm just damaging, just doing some auto attacks. The auto attacks are terrible, and meanwhile, all of these skills that do a lot of damage, they're on cooldown. So you want to look and say, well, look, the meteor shower, the lava font, that does the best. Look at my DPS. It just dropped down to 19,000 because I stayed in ice bow for that a little bit longer, because I thought, you know what, I've got some ice bow amount, I can use ice bow a little bit longer. What if I stick in it? Well, you're not going to do as much damage. And that's what you should consider. Look at the skills when they're on cooldown and how quickly they come off cooldown. You'll notice that I did lava font before I did meteor shower, but that's because the meteor shower has a 23-second cooldown with the quickness and the alacrity, and so it's better to pop that lava font first because it's only got a 5-second or a 6-second cooldown here. So again, it's knowing what's going on and how best to rotate. So there we go, guys. I just thought that was a bit of an experimentation with Elementalist. Now it does actually take, if we can kill the golem there, what I'll do now is I'll actually show you a different character. So that was the Elementalist. Let's take, for example, let's take a Guardian. So this Guardian is a Guardian I use in raids. I'll use it particularly well in Sabbather. It's also utilized pretty well in both Gorseval, occasionally in Veil Guardian. Very useful in the Slothazar fight, along with a few other raids. And so what you'll notice here, I actually have some food on, and this is my power food, and my DPS food. But this character here actually has just done Slothazar because he has this wall of reflection up, and you can tell by that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put on power signet, and we've got the DPS here. And, even though I don't need to have quickness, I will take the quickness skill just to demonstrate when I actually use it in my rotations. This is an interesting particular build because And this particular character, and the Guardian, relies on utilizing its auto attack to put a symbol down that gives you protection. And I'm going to demonstrate that and show you what the damage that you can do. And being aware of traits. Now, what we're going to show here, again, with some of the enemy golem. So it's exactly the same. Oh, what we'll do, we'll just affect the environment. So we'll give ourselves all the add boons, we'll give us all of the boons, and we'll give us all the utilities. So we've got all the boons on us. And we understand, so we'll give all of the available enhancements as well. Okay, so we go back, and the environment, we don't need to do that. But what I want to show you quickly is the traits. Now, I've got a trait on here, that's this one here. Striking an enemy tethered by your Spear of Justice causes vulnerability and increases damage dealt. So this is an increase of 10% damage. And I'd like to show you this in action. And also we do extra damage to crippled enemies. So this is an interesting one. Now the traits I've just specified would be to do with the Spear of Justice and Cripple, which is Test of Faith. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go and just auto attack. So we see here we put down the symbol and we just got to keep auto attacking. And you'll see here we're doing a fair amount of damage, but it's pretty decent. We're doing a little bit of crippling, and we do more damage when they're crippled. So let's see what happens now when we just do an auto attack DPS run, just to give you an idea. This is just an auto attack, no other skills. I'm not utilizing any skills, which is actually something while we're auto attacking. I'm not going to use Zealot's Embrace. This is only used for doing the break bar, as is Banish and the Ring of Warding. The only two skills we do on the hammer are these two here. This Mighty Blow is a pretty good DPS, pretty good damage, and so we'll look at that when we get down to the next stage. So we're doing it at a DPS of 18,374. Okay, so that's not fantastic. It's okay, pretty decent, but with all the abilities, all the boons and environmental effects going on us, it's not fantastic. And so this is what we're going to do now. We're going to go in and we're going to go full in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this F1 ability because it's going to give us an extra 10% damage. So here we go, we're going to tether it, and here we go, we're going to go auto attack, and let's put out the traps. Here we go, we're going to keep on damaging it, and let's see what happens now. So I'm actually auto attacking, we'll do a little bit of a damage. I would also use that skill there to give us more quickness, but obviously on this run, the damage isn't too affected by it. I tried to put the spear, we've got the spear attached, so we're doing an extra 10% damage, or should be. We'll pop in the damage, sort of that skill too. Now, one of the things is that you only get this symbol on your third auto attack. So there we go, that's when you should be hitting your rotation, and then you carry on with the auto attacks, because if you don't, then what happens is you'll miss up that chain, and you won't be doing as much damage. So our damage has gone up a little bit. Let's see if we can make it even higher. And 1, 2, 3, bam, and then we do a jump, and then we'll just keep on going to see if that actually improves our DPS. And then we'll use our tethered spear, so we'll be doing more damage. It's an extra 10% damage. We can obviously pull them, you can see there, but we don't want to do that because we do 10% more damage when they're crippled and also when they are tethered. So here we go, and boom, we'll do the jump. So we're doing a lot of damage. But again, with this auto attack swinging, we're just seeing how our rotations and how utilizing different skills constantly. So there we go, we're up to 20,000 DPS. So, all right, not as much as an elementalist, but the difference being you're actually getting a hell of a lot more protection with this particular build, and so it's not going to be as good with this particular class. So let's take a class that is properly DPS focused, and that would be the Thief. Now, the Daredevil. Now, my Daredevil, again, is, we look at DPS. One of the things I haven't looked at is conditions, and we'll come to conditions with the Necromancer, because the conditions can build up, and so initially your DPS will be pretty low, but over a substantial amount of time, your DPS actually will go up. So here we go, this is my Thief. Again, if you want to just check this out, I've got the same power food on, power and ferocity, and in terms of actual traits, well, the equipment, it's all DPS, it's all ascended gear, which is the same for all my characters. But this one, you can go for it, depending on your trait, depends how you want to play and your DPS. So here we go, we're going to go back into the Special Forces training area. And what I wanted to do for this video is to explain how you should practice and look at things that can affect your DPS. I always find it very useful watching people do raid videos, because I find it very, very fascinating to see how the DPS on and how they actually play their class and how they rotate skills. You'll see this is with a lot. If you ever watch some of the very experienced and very good raiding teams and raiding videos, you'll see a raid boss killed. Their rotations are might be very different to yourself, and that's I find that very interesting. I've learned a lot from that. And it's also always important to actually just in terms of improving yourself, actually look at how best your class can be played. So here we go. We'll put on all the effects again. So let's actually go in. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. We'll just go in and we'll auto attack this time. So the Thief is a very easy class, the Daredevil, with this auto attack. So we're just going to do a lot of damage here. And I'm not doing anything. I'm actually literally not touching the keyboard. And this is my DPS. Yeah, it's going down quite quickly. Now, obviously, in things like Veiled Guardian, the boss will be moving around, so you'll never actually get this kind of DPS. But it's pretty handy to see how we actually do just by auto-attacking compared to our other classes. It's very good to see how much damage you're doing compared to that. So we get approaching the 20%, 23,000 just by auto-attacking. Well, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? I did think, you know, there's number 2. Let's actually have a look at that. Well, you could go in like that. That doesn't do too much. That just takes you away and losing DPS. This is a rollback, so again, you don't want to do that. And this is just a sweeping blindness, so it's not too great. But what you can do, you can see we're doing with every triple strike, we're doing 17,000. You can do this auto attack, which is the skill 5. And again, that can actually add in. So what we'll do a few of these. We'll do auto attack, and then we'll go in with the vault is what it's called. So here we go, and vault, and doing a lot of damage. Now, because of that, let's see how I did actually slack off a little bit there. So let's try and see if we can get that above 23,000. Above 24,000. So here we go, we're doing the auto attacks. You'll notice again that I'm not actually using any other skills. The physical strike doesn't do too much damage, neither does the fist flurry. I mean, it can do it, but you're just wasting your DPS. Again, we'll do it with the vault in, doing 25,000, admittedly because it's got all these boons on us. So let's see if we can get, so we're actually slightly down. So by using vault, it's not a great DPS improvement. So why don't I just let it auto attack? So for 22,888, that was the DPS using vault. Let's just see what we do when we auto attack. So it's going quite nicely. I mean, the fist flurry, okay, you might do a lot of damage, but you're actually taking away from this 20,000 hit that you can do really quickly. And here we go, we're coming up to 20%. So let's see what we're down to. Oh, we're up to 23,614. So the difference, okay, is 800, but that's 800 every second. And that can add up. And particularly over a 10-minute fight. So by doing this, you can actually see what is the best way to actually attack and to do a boss. You may think, oh, well, you know, I'm not using Vault. That actually is not a problem because I'm doing more damage just by auto-attacking. Okay, if we've got a moving boss, it may be useful to Vault all over the place, and I actually have this dodge where if I dodge, then I actually do a lot of damage. So there we go. Overall, we hit a 23,007. Well, that last bit was 23,765. We managed to defeat it in just under 3 minutes, 4 million XP. Not bad, not as good as a lot of the pro raiders, but this video is to demonstrate what the difference is in your particular classes and actually how you can change your rotations. And let's take a condition damage class. So what we have here is a Necromancer. Now, again, the problem with the condition damage is we don't have very much high impact damage. When I say that, you know, look at the Elementalists, look at the Thief, and look at Warriors. They're doing existing pretty hardcore damage. Now, the Necromancer, as you can see here, this is a Necromancer that I run a lot. This is where I use Epidemic. Epidemic, I tend to bounce between 2 enemy foes, and therefore you actually double enhancing the amount of condition damage you're actually doing. What I'll do, I'll substitute that in for a Corrosive Poison Cloud. We'll use Signet Spite just to give us, we'll pop that occasionally. There are different ways you can do this, and you know, you can use minions, for example. But I just wanted to show you the kind of standard condition damage build that I run in raids. So again, we'll add all the boons to ourselves, all of the boons. We'll add all of the environmental effects, and we'll summon an enemy golem. So here we go. Now what I'll go in here, I will go in as Lich form, and I will go in and use the skill 4, which pops a lot of minions. And this is where you can struggle with your rotations. You're trying to use the scepter, you might go in with the soul spiral, and again you'll come back out. But this is very important to do the auto attacks, and you can see the amount of damage that we're actually doing here just by auto attacking. We'll then use the skills here. We've got poison, corrosive cloud. We'll even use the taste of death, and we'll go back in, and we're just going to auto attack. We'll try and rotate, and then we'll compare it when we auto attack. So again, we'll use our soul spiral, and then the skill 5, and then we'll come back out. We've got the corrosive poison cloud, CPC, and then we've also got the blood is power, which is called as BIP. So let's see for the Necromancer how that's impacted. You'll notice that we're doing 8,000 odd bleeds, and we're seeing how that compares. Well, let's go back and a little bit early, so there for the rotations, but then I'll come out a little bit early, and that's bad rotating there from me because this is on cooldown. So we're only doing 13,000 DPS, which is really poor. But again, the problem with this is that the condition damage necro really works well when you have the ability to bounce epidemic between enemies, in which case your DPS actually goes up. And so I'm just auto attacking now. I'm not going to use any other skills, and then we'll just compare the results. So this is an auto attack 20% here. So let's see if it goes up or down. But you'll notice the amount of bleeds we can get on them, and it's just very interesting to compare what I'm actually doing. Doing nothing. We've got a blood fiend attacking. Okay, we don't have any minions this time, so they're not attacking and putting bleeds on him. But we're doing a decent amount of damage, and this is condition damage. So it's a very different style. You think of the Veiled Guardian, which has a red boss, a red guardian, which you can only attack with condition damage. It's very good to practice your condition damage on the golem here to see how you do against that red guardian. So let's compare our DPS. Our DPS is 12,807, so significantly worse. It's taken us a lot longer without using some of the skills. So let's go back in. Let's try a few different skills. We'll use the golem. The Lich form. We'll go in this time. We'll use our soul spiral, which gives us a lot of poison. We'll use even the signet of spite, which can put a load of conditions on them. CPC and BIP we'll use as well. I'm not going to use these two skills because they don't do too much damage. The actual Grasping Dead can do a lot of bleeds, and we'll go back into here. Okay, we didn't do great amount there. I should have probably stayed in that, which was a bit of a shame. I've made a little bit of a mistake there. But again, we're doing not too much immediate impact damage. You'll notice like 1,500, 1,000. But overall, if you actually look here, 12,000. So our actually DPS has gone up. So by rotating around using these skills, we're actually doing more damage than just by sticking with the same routine. And actually rotating in a specific way can actually be really beneficial. And it's very interesting to compare, okay, the Thief, for example, may have actually benefited from just auto-attacking, whereas the Necromancer doesn't. And so you have to notice the differences in your rotations for what actually damage you can do. So I don't think you can actually do 2 golems here in the arena. So we'll come back out of that. We'll kill the golem. But again, the hope for me to actually show you is that you can actually improve your abilities by changing the way you play your class. So here we go. You can actually change as well. You can walk in a circle. You've got sort of a large, strong enemy. You can change their abilities. They can be condition immune or condition vulnerable. So you can actually see that. And unfortunately, you can't do 2 golems. But this area is very good for testing that. The testing area in the raid instance is very good for testing that out. So I'm hoping that you've learned something here, and I hope that you've actually examined how rotations can work for you, and how doing different things can actually change the amount of damage you do in game just by changing some certain traits, by changing how you use the skills and what order you use the skills, can actually improve your gameplay a hell of a lot. So if you take something from this, I hope you do. If not, please leave any comments in the section below. Now, I know that some of my rotations weren't ideal in this. The whole point of this was to actually demonstrate just how sometimes not to do it, and then how other ways you can actually improve your DPS. So give that some consideration. There's lots of videos, there's lots of guides out there, particularly on things like Meta Battle and with some of the Raiders' YouTube channels. I definitely recommend checking some of those out, and you can improve your gameplay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
Raids, PvP, legendary weapons, how to make gold in Guild Wars 2, and Mike I Talk. Please use these links below to help support my channel, and I'll keep producing content you enjoy.